Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I just want to do lighthearted chat. I'm you guys are you guys are like my main connection to the world because I live in a house alone, and sometimes I like to document what I'm thinking, and sometimes I like to communicate with you guys. So um, I like to go live with you guys. First of all, about my music, um, I think that. Um, I think that I'm a I'm kind of a rarity because in my head I have almost I have most very a lot of the you know rock and pop music of the it's kind of the 60s but 70s and 80s in my head, and on some level I already know it all. I just haven't learned necessarily all of it on the guitar or singing, um, and I haven't necessarily practiced it recently if I have learned it. So in a way, it's like my mission, my end game or my end point is to be able to play anything or sing anything that ever was popular in rock and pop in the 70s, 80s, and some of the 60s, which is a tall order. If I hadn't been born when I did, not only would that be hard to do, I probably wouldn't care because I'd be into other music. And I'm not into other music because it's the music I grew up with, and I do know it fairly well because I did grow up with it. And so people can put me down or not put me down, but I think I'm doing something unique. When I decide to do a song, let's say I decided to do "I'm the One" by Van Halen this morning, that wasn't a long drawn out ordeal where I thought about it and which one am I going to do? I better do this or this because I only know this or this. I just on a whim decided, well, I kind of like that song. Let's go do that. And I did it within minutes, not hours. And it could have been a Queen song. It could have been a Six song. It could, I can draw on any of the knowledge I know. It could be Rolling Stones. It could be Led Zeppelin. It could be Jimi Hendrix. It could be, I know. I think I have a I think I have a purpose in the music community, and I think I'm an asset in the music community. How great a big a one or not, I don't know, but I think I'm unique, and I just like to share that with you guys. And again, it's the music that drives my channel. I love talking to you guys too, but as long as the music is there, my music is my YouTube channel is primarily musical. But I don't hold back everything else from you guys either. I don't hold back my whole life from you guys. I'll share my whole life with you guys. That's part of being transparent, but it's primarily a musical station channel. But I feel like that's fine because you guys watch my music stuff, and I think someone just gave me $5. It said that before a while back, and I never really got any money. But I'm not sure if that may be a glitch in YouTube. I mean, or not. I don't know. But thank you if that was genuine. Um, uh, um, yeah. There's a side part of my channel that is just sharing my life with you guys. That's a secondary part of my channel too, but it is part of my channel. I like to take you guys on my life journey, and that is important too. But it's not doesn't replace the music, and the music is primary. Otherwise, I'll redefine everything. But I don't think that's happening because the music is fine. In fact, I make musical progress all the time, and sometimes I comment on other things that are musical that show my progress. I commented on a Quora comment just now about time signatures, and my comment was pretty badass. Of course, I've been studying rhythm theory for 15 years, but it's nice when I can explain something that shows that. At the same time, that's not all I do is music either. I do frisbee stuff, which is more physical. I do math and quantum physics sometimes, kind of ish things, which are more purely cerebral or intellectual. And I just try to include everything about myself. So there's that. And I just clicked on a thing that I like, a guy named Federico Fagan. He was a big helper in inventing computers, but now he's a metaphysicist. I like some of his ideas. And I thought I might ramble about some of them. I'm not on his level, of course, but I can try to say my thoughts on some of what he's talking about. He's talking about us we basically have much more of a holographic nature than we do a physical, just independent. I'm me, you're you. This is my arm. This is my head. We're much more holographic than that. A holograph, I don't understand it all because I don't know everything, but holographs, each part shows the whole, even though it's only a part. And that's what we're like. Our bodies are like that. Our existence is like that. We look at one cell, it has the whole, one cell has all the 43 or 46 chromosomes, or 23 chromosome pairs, and all the DNA. It doesn't just have, like my arm cell doesn't just have a cell, doesn't have a DNA for my arm. It has the DNA for my whole body. It's like each part contains the whole, and that's holographic nature rather than some of the ways science has had us look at our bodies over history, over time. Federico comments that science is materialist and reductionist, meaning it speaks of only the matter first and makes everything into the most simple parts and breaks things apart and separates them. That's materialist and reductionist, and doesn't always necessarily serve truth, does it? Especially if we are more holographic in nature than we are reductionable, you know? We're very much like fractals. You know, where a fractal is, when you look at one small thing, you see the whole again, and then you look at one part of that, and you see the whole, and then if you look at a bigger part, you know, it's very holographic, and that's not easy to explain because holographs are not. If we're holograms, we're different than if we're actually physical, real beings, like we all look like we are, and sometimes think we are. So I'm just thinking, and I'm keeping these things in mind, and I'm learning and sharing it with you guys as I go. I was going to say something. Yeah, so as far as the religion thing, I'm both impressed and not impressed with Mormonism. I'm impressed that it's actually probably the only true, possibly like consistent with being true, actually Jesus organization, that none of the other factions of Christianity are eligible for, because they all do things that cancel themselves out, or take themselves out of that by some untruth or hypocrisy or wrongness. But I'm also not impressed by the I'm getting a little snootiness from them as far as the way you have to dress and morality and service and all this. And I'm not doing something I don't want to do, even if it is Jesus Christ organization. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it. But I'm not just automatically going to sell myself to Jesus. I'm not that simple, and nor am I that minded that way. I went to a meeting today, the meeting after church, where some dude in the meeting, so naively said, when asked about what family is, oh, that's the place we go to feel good. And I thought, what planet is this guy on? I mean, I didn't leave the room, of course, I'm not rude. But what the hell? These people come from, like, these people are raised by their natural parents. They're loved, they're nurtured. Their family is where you get pleasure and love. The guy said something like that. He said, family is where we go to get pleasure and love. That's almost literally what he said. I'm thinking, what the hell? I'm not even going to go there. To me, is what went through my mind is I'm not even going to tell. I'm not even going to. That just knocks me out of the whole game of family right there. I'm not even going to talk about mine. That's such a non sequitur. I'm not even going to go there then. And I didn't. When it was my turn to talk, I skipped the details and just said what I felt about the issue, not about details about my family versus his. I didn't even bother. Why bother? I just said, I'm not going to go into my details of my family. That would be a whole talk in and of itself. I just got to the chase. What am I supposed to say? How wrong that dude is on any other planet but his? No. But that's where some of these people come from, and it isn't my world. Jesus is Christ's organization or not. I still get to choose what I do with my life. I'm not only here to be saved. That's not my only mission in life. And second of all, I don't have it good enough to say that. I've had to apply myself in this life deeper than just, well, see it the next life. I didn't get to do that. If I would have done that, I'd have killed myself. I had to apply myself to survive this life. And that meant doing more than just accepting Jesus, and that's the whole solution, and that's the end of the story. And I'm saved now. No, I live this life for this life first, for each day and for the cumulative days, like a hologram. Each day has the whole days involved, but the whole, it's not just an end game to be saved, or I wouldn't do anything. I'd probably kill myself because I wouldn't want to be here. And I would just want to cut to the chase. I'd want to see, I don't know. I actually like my life, and I actually want to live this life, heaven or hell, saved or lost. I still am Shirtless Guy. I still am Jimmie Rex Wiseman. I still want to live this life. Otherwise this life wouldn't keep me here. And paradoxically, I'd kill myself and go to hell for that. Right? Isn't that a sin? But yet it's my philosophy of life. It's the way I love my life and myself and my music that keeps me from killing myself. These people have it so good, they don't even know what a suicidal thought is. It's my feeling. So they can afford to think, yeah, have family's paradise, all to Jesus. We worship Jesus, do what Jesus says, do what Jesus does. We'll be saved, we'll be in heaven forever. Isn't life? Well, dude, you don't even know what planet I'm on. I mean, and the dude didn't even realize how offbeat he was with anybody that didn't have his experience. He was totally oblivious to it. The guy leading it wasn't. He kind of directed the guy a little bit, but the dude talking didn't even see anything wrong with what he was doing. It didn't see any problem in his logic. Didn't see why anybody else shouldn't think the same way. And would be bad if they didn't, therefore. I don't know. I'm not, you know what? I'll dress up that way for 3 hours for now, every week, but I'm not making that a lifestyle. The way they looked at me, the people looked at me after when I came back to get my sunglasses today, which is actually helpful because now I know where the church is, so I can walk there if I don't get a ride. Now I know where it is. So that walk there actually helped in the plan of things. But that was mainly, initially at least, to get my sunglasses, which I didn't find, but I was wearing my shorts, and I got looked at like I was ET. So one guy just couldn't get his eyes off my shorts. That's all I could see. I could tell because he was looking down, and that's all he noticed about me was my shorts. So one other person said, "Did you come to church dressed like that?" First of all, that's accusatory. Second of all, it's reductionist, and meaning it's assuming the worst possible motive for me. And third of all, no, I didn't. I actually wore pants. Problem? But because I was even in the church dressed another way, just flipped his lid. You know, I'm not going to join a community where I don't belong. That would be intrusionism, and it would be insincerity. I'm not going to pretend I belong somewhere I don't. I'm not going to join some place I don't belong. So I'll go to church for now, until I get kicked out, maybe, or until I have enough of what I need, as far as whatever I need. I don't know, whatever. For now, I'm going, but I have no interest in getting baptized or deaconized or becoming ordained or becoming any of those words, getting a priesthood or become. I'm no. As soon as that starts coming up, I'm leaving. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to make it my life. Now is Mormonism. I'm not going to do that. As soon as that starts happening, and as soon as there's pressure to do that, and it becomes that or else, I'm leaving. But other than that, I may go. That may be the demarcator of when I go and when I don't. As long as it's just optional and I can go if I want and take what I want from it, and also give what I have to give. It's likely I may keep going, but like I've been in churches before. I've been baptized 4 times. And of course, none of those baptisms count. But I have been through the process, at least superficially, because I actually was baptized, incorrectly or not. At least I was, and it's always been the same dynamic. Of course, there may not be with this case because this is the true church. It may be different, right? But all the others were just a progression. Once you start going, they want more from you and more from you and more from you until they baptize you, and then they want everything from you. And then I retreat and do the opposite and get kicked out, disfellowshipped, unnoted, whatever that is, because that's not me. I don't. Let me put it this way. Let me take a different angle of it. I'm not just a shadow of Jesus Christ. I am a person. I'm not just here to flag Jesus Christ's sail. Jesus is an example to me, and how I can live and ways I can do to be a better being. But I don't exist just to fatten his wallet or inflate his sails. I'm just not that. That just isn't me. Jesus is big enough. He's got billions of people following him. He's got more than 10 factions all claiming to serve him. And people all over the world, the majority even, all bow to him, and he's got enough. He doesn't need me, first of all. Second of all, why that's not how I see myself. I'm not just a Jesus Christ fan, and then that's it. I'm just not. And that either shows already or will show. So that's just too, I'm just not, and I'm willing to take the consequences. I'm willing to go to hell if that's what that means. I don't care. In fact, hell might be better for me. Right? Less crowded, less people trying to inch their way around me to get ahead so they can be the first to see Jesus. You can't all see him at once. I've even been told you wait in line anyway. Who cares? I've had chances like that with people on earth, and I usually just walk away, be honest. Well, of course, why would I not be honest? When I went to a meet and greet of Joe Satriani, 2003, Clement Mesa, Guitar Trader. Google it. It was there. Satriani showed up. I was there. I asked him a question. He answered it with a 20-minute answer. I asked him about his pitch axis technique theory and what modes he uses, and he just went off on on a treatise that was itself a work of art, and I was satisfied, and I just left. I didn't need to hang around further, and so I could say I shook his hand and got a pic from him and got his autograph. It was enough. And as I left, some guy said, "Great question, man." That was enough for me. It was an experience. It wasn't, "Oh my gosh, here's proof I saw Joe." I don't care. It was what I could learn and what I needed, and what fulfilled me that day was enough. Same with Jesus. I don't need to say, "Oh God, did you know that I'm like the 143rd of the 144,000 in the corner of heaven, and I'm a deacon, and Jesus is southeast corner of the cube of heaven." I don't give a heck. I don't care. I care about my experience as me, and I care about how I can be a better person through Jesus, not how I add to Jesus's whatever fame, glory. I fatten his sails. I've never met Jesus. Why? First of all, like I said, he's big enough without me. He's got it made, really. He's already done his work, and he gets worshipped forever for it. Fair enough, fair trade. He spent 9 hours on a cross and gets an infinity of worship. And Ben, and he didn't realize he was making a mistake, but my friend Ben made a mistake with me. He said that if we were, including me, were asked to do what Jesus did, we would, including me, would say some 4-letter words and say hell no. And I thought to him, I didn't correct him because it wasn't I couldn't prove it, and it wasn't my point. I didn't care to. Don't judge me, Ben. You don't know what I would do or what I wouldn't. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I wouldn't do what Jesus did, and I would give you some 4-letter words and square out of it, but you don't know that. You don't know that, Ben. You don't know that if I had to do what Jesus did for the joy set before him, that I wouldn't do that. And he judged me outright without even knowing me that well, that I would be like he admits he would be, give some 4-letter words and say, no, but you judged me, Ben. You don't know me. And furthermore, that might, you don't know that that's what I would say or do. You don't know that. I don't even know that, but neither do you. And I felt that by cutting things so cut and dry that Jesus is the only one that is ever good and ever did anything good, it only alienated me from him and his group. They don't look at you as a person. They look at, well, Jesus was good. You just follow him. You're not good because I'm not good, so nobody's good. So screw you, fuck you. Let's just all worship Jesus. That's not my mindset. And that might not, and that's not my truth. Don't judge me based on what I would do when I didn't even get a chance to get asked that or had to. Remember, well, I could go into examples where I went against the natural drive to live, but I won't. That doesn't feel right now. But I've done things that don't just show desire to survive. I've actually wanted to die. I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. What if I had to die to save mankind? But I want to die anyway. Okay, let's do this. You don't know me, dude. Don't judge me. Fair enough. Anyway, that was my rant. I didn't mean to over rant if I did. Anyway, see what music I do soon. Love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.